Hello, we're at Coombe School in South Croydon and welcome to our virtual site tour. We're going to do a little bit of the actual tour, but also going to see into what people do day to day on site from different trades, whether that's building services, whether that's construction. And we're going to try and give you a little bit of an insight into what it's like to work for Wates, what it's like to work in the construction industry, what people like, how they got into it and what qualifications they have and how they got here really.
So welcome to Coombe. It's a school of 1,500 kids that is in South Croydon. It's due to open in September, and in construction we are currently in week 77 of 86, which means we've got 9 weeks to go. To our right we got our football pitch. That is a full-size FIFA accredited pitch. We're split into 2 blocks, the teaching block and the sports block. Teaching block is split into 3 wings and then a central spine. And then we got a sports hall that's accredited by Netball UK that will also have a futsal pitch that is painted onto the floor itself. It will have multiple basketball courts to play during time and will be hired out at the weekend by the school. The sports block is split up into 2 floors, the ground and the first, and the teaching block is a bit more complicated. So we split into 3 wings and a central spine. Central spine is along the front, and then the 3 wings are east, central and west. West and central have 3 floors made up of the second, first and ground, while the east is only on the second and first. This is due to the topography of the land being such at a steep level, we've had to actually design the school to not include a ground floor as the building will not be straight. Externally, we have all of this area. As you can see from our logistics map, we have the temporary school compound, which we had a temporary school here before that we actually started building. We have where our offices are and our welfare behind us, and this is any entrance for any deliveries that come onto site. To the rear of school, there are 2 courtyards. There's the east courtyard in between the east and central wing, and the west courtyard between the west and the central wing. There's an amphitheatre on our right hand side on the east side, and there's a gazebo on the west side. On our left, there's currently this open land that will be grassed and will be used by the school for any external events that they may have, as well as any external lessons that they may choose to do. And as you can see from this point, this is a nice external view of the building.
I got started in construction when I first left school. My uncle was a project manager for a plumbing firm and suggested I could maybe do an apprenticeship with him. So I enrolled in college and got an apprenticeship with his firm and went on from there.
I got started in construction just doing an apprenticeship when I was 17. I've always wanted to work on construction. I've always been like a hands-on person, so I thought it was the right thing for me to go down in the right career path.
I started with Wates on the early careers programme. I left university in the summer and started in construction with Wates in September of last year.
I got started because my father-in-law introduced me to the business. I did like the rush and the people that you meet around, and I like to start in one place.
I got into construction about 10 years ago, sort of fell into it. I was out of work at the time and I was offered a labourer's job. So I started at the very bottom on site, and I saw there was an opportunity to make something of myself without sort of going down other routes with sort of college and university. I could sort of see there was somewhere to go. So I've just worked my way up really.
My first experience working in construction was as a project administrator, and that kind of stimulated my eagerness to want to get into construction. And then from there I started an apprenticeship through Evolve, who paired me with Wates Construction, and Wates are the host contractor of my current apprenticeship. So they facilitate the apprenticeship with the CITV, Barking and Dagenham, and that's kind of how I got into the sector. Wates do support women into construction. You come onto site, everyone's treated the same. Like I said, I'm an apprentice manager, so I'm working along with different trades, different walks of life. You've got inclusivity and diversity. There's no barriers for you to enter construction. Like you see, I'm a female, I'm doing it, so other people can do it too.
So I went to university and got a degree in mechanical engineering, and then I did my master's degree in mechanical engineering, and I always looked into the construction industry, specifically building services, and joined into that. And I knew someone that worked for Wates who introduced me to the company. I didn't know too much about them at the time, and then he recommended they're a good company to work for, and I applied for the graduate scheme, and I joined on the graduate scheme and then got promoted off the graduate scheme. So in here we have the main plant room. To your left is the main tank. Here we have the boilers. At high level we have all of the pipe work which feeds the domestic systems for the taps and the heating system in the radiators and radiant panels in the sports pavilion. Over here we have the main big calorifiers which have the domestic waters. If you come towards me slightly, we also have the pumps as well, which pumps all the circulation and the heating around the systems as well. Over there we have larger tanks which feeds the main science classroom water system that has a separate system to prevent any bacteria backflow. And then over in the back corner we have the MCC panel which controls all of the building systems as well. So this is the main BMS panel, which is the building management system panel, which has, as you can see from all these little white face plates, they basically control all of the pumps. As you can see from that word in there, toilet extract fan, it tells you if it's working or there's a fault. It's basically the control panel. So you can come and see this or not this directly. You'll have a main computer within the building which will tell you all of the systems that are working. So this is the electrical riser. This provides power to this area of the building. Within here we also have a rainwater drainage pipe, and we also have the inverter for the solar panels upstairs that also feed power to this area of the building as well. If we move along here, we have the mechanical side of the riser. You have the supply and extract ducts. As you can see, they're quite large, and they supply fresh air into the dining room downstairs, and then the extracts all of the fumes and the dirty air out of the kitchen area. Behind here we have the boiler flue, which extracts the fumes from the boiler downstairs into the atmosphere. We also have the air conditioning pipes, which feeds most of this area, and then upstairs and downstairs. And we also have the heating pipes, which feeds all the radiators, and the domestic water pipes that feed the toilets and showers in this area as well.
My qualifications are an MVQ level 3 in plumbing and heating services. I'm also a triple STS, which is site supervision. I'm a first aider as well.
The qualifications I have at the moment are my MVQ level 2 in paint and decorating, and then my English and maths.
I've currently got a university degree in management from the University of York, and I'm working with Wates to gain a level 4 H&C in construction management.
I got an iPath, they allow me to drive a Mew. I got a CSCS car Go electrician. They proved me that I'm able to do the job that I'm supposed to be doing.
So I've done quite a lot of training over the years. I've done an A62 lift supervisor, which is a level 4 MVQ. So with that I supervise cranes and any lifting operation on sites. I've just recently, about a year ago, completed my construction manager's level 6 NVQ diploma. I've got other sorts of training. I've done site environmental awareness, slinger signaller, traffic marshal, fire marshal, just some of the smaller bits that go along with it. I'm looking at doing my AP's course next year, which is appointed person, so it's one up from the lift supervisor. I've
done a level 3 in construction and the built environment, as well as a level 3 in construction contracting operations as an MVQ, which I have completed, and as well as the level 3 course with Balkan and Dagenham College. That's been completed, so after the host apprenticeship agreement is over, you then are awarded that certificate. So that's kind of like a route for people who are willing to get into the sector. And prior to working with Balkan and Dagenham, I was registered with Women into Construction. So that's another way for women and females who may feel a bit shy and intimidated of wanting to work in a predominantly male environment. There's always opportunities for women, and I know that loads of companies do partner with Women into Construction as well as the CITB to get women into construction. Because presently, I think it's less than 3% of the population of employees in the construction sector count for women. So I know there is a push to increase that.
Through Wates, I've done first aid training. I've also done some environmental courses and behavioural training as well. So basically they look into your personality, see what sort of things you can work on and what situations you'd work well in. And also my goal is to work towards my chartership, so I'd like to become a chartered mechanical engineer through the Institution of Mechanical Engineers, so that's my next goal.
In the future, I will look at other qualifications and what to do, but I haven't fully made my mind up on what it is I want to do to better myself. Then I wouldn't mind like a site manager role, just looking for the right moment to do that and making sure I have the right qualifications. If not, it will involve going back to get the right qualifications to do that career.
So this is the main sports hall area where all the children's activities will happen. We have some basketball nets here, we have retractable basketball hoops for the large court as well. From a services perspective, we have the lighting area and we also have the radiant panels at high level as well, which are controlled depending on the time of year. Most likely exams will happen in here as well. And behind the walls here, we also have the toilets and changing rooms as well. So in here we have one of the many change rooms on the project. In the last couple of days, these IPS panels have just gone in that make 1 and 2 shower rooms in this room. The benches for the students have also just gone in as well. This room is a little bit early on in the construction phase and will need to be painted. During the project we might have some design phases, and as you can see at high level we have an access hatch that's just been cut, and that is the service mechanical plant at high level.
Working in construction has its inherent misconceptions. However, the stereotypes of it being dirty and noisy and not friendly are anything but from the truth. It's a very open community, especially working on the building site. Everyone's very friendly, everyone is very open to help. And if you have got an issue, you can go to anyone and ask, because most people are very willing to share their expertise and actually learn from each other. And that is definitely a great element of working in construction that you wouldn't expect to walk into. Especially as a trainee, you can walk in, ask any of my superiors a question or ask any trades. And learning of different people is definitely an element of construction. It's why I love and enjoy doing what I do.
I enjoy what I do. It's quite satisfying to start at a job and start in the plant room, seeing the tanks, the water tanks go in and pumps, and finally 6 months, 8 months down the line, finally eventually seeing water coming out your taps and heating in the radiators. It's quite satisfying.
What's satisfying about my job is watching how something was to what it is now. So seeing a job from start to finish and knowing that I was the one that had a part to play in like a development.
The aspect I love most about my job is definitely the problem solving that goes with my job role. Being a production manager with Wates means I need to solve any issues that may arise with any of our supply chain or our subcontractors.
Yeah, I think everything's satisfied for me. I think I like the challenge you get every day with the electric, when you get fault on it. I like that stuff, you know what I mean? That's how that, just the rush of it. I like the challenge of it. It's really, I love it.
I enjoy it, you know, I get satisfaction from my job. I've got a good team of guys that work for me. You know, I treat all the guys very fairly, so they do go above and beyond for me, and it's just satisfying at the end of the day, getting the job done and moving forward. I think when I first joined, I wasn't really interested. You know, I didn't really know enough about construction. You know, and then the more I worked, the more I spoke to people, I got involved in a lot of different activities. And I think it's a good job to have. You know, it gives you a lot of life skills, confidence, and so on.
I enjoy kind of like, you know, we're building something that's going to be handed over for use with loads of people, whether it's the teaching side or if it's the sports pitch for people on the weekend. And on my previous project was also a school, so I saw that through its kind of the last 3 to 4 months of the project, and I've actually been going back after the completion just to change some elements and commission things seasonally. And overseeing things like that, and kind of seeing it in use, you get a genuine enjoyment from seeing the actual building in use. So here we have the main dining area where the children will convene at lunchtime to eat. Through there we have the kitchen area which food will be served. And then the dining area leads on to the main atrium area through there, which has the curtain walling. So this is the main hall area. To my left we have the bleacher seating which extends out, which is where the children and teachers will sit during assembly time. To my right we have the main front wall. At high level we have the lighting and the supply and extract ductwork, which keeps the temperature to a comfortable temperature. Furthermore, as you can see, it's also being used as a storage area at the moment, just due to its proximity to most classrooms and the sports hall just outside that door there as well.
So my daily routine is I'm the foreman, so I sign everybody in, give the boys their tasks for the day, what areas they're working, if they're going to be in a restricted area, if it's safe to do so. Then once I've given their tasks, I'll go out, make sure they're all working safely. I'll get a few calls during the day off of them to, if any issues that we'll go through together. I will do the materials and then I'll sign everybody out safely at the end of the day.
My day-to-day jobs is just any defects in a room, like so if another trade had gone in and has made dents in the wall, I have to make it right to make it look like it was never there basically. And dirty marks, if it involves cleaning or touching up the paint or redecking a wall.
Yeah, I'm responsible for all the lighting, as you can see. I do all the dados, all the switch, all the LCMs.
So I run a team of around 20-25 guys, running all the deliveries, cranes, forklifts, keeping the site clean and tidy, making sure it's secure, running all the welfare, any lifting operations, running the day-to-day meetings as well, daily activities with the trades on site, make sure everyone's coordinated.
So my job, I'm an apprentice site manager, which means that you are accountable along with the main package manager or site manager, who is responsible for your learning, or your mentor, that is, to manage packages. You're accountable for them in terms of health and safety, quality, in terms of their overall scope of works, ensuring that what has been written in the order is being carried out inside. So your job is to make sure you liaise with the commercial team that everything we're being installed is the correct specification and it's the right quality as well. So that's from a bird's eye or broad perspective what we do. And if you want to go into it from a more hands-on approach, your hands-on approach is to go on site with your respective trades and ensure that everything that they do on a daily basis is done safely, because that's the main, like the bottom line of what we do. Yes, we are here to build for clients and give them a finished product, but we are here to ensure that's done safely as well. And in terms of quality, we always make sure that we are doing quality checks, random quality checks of, like today, for example, we had concrete here on site. They do cube testing to check for the integrity and strength of the concrete. So that's an example of how you demonstrate quality is being maintained, and you make sure you take quality photos, which can then be updated in a folder, for example, to check that everything is being installed to the right specification and you're using the manufacturer's recommendations for installation. My experience of it has been, I would say, a very challenging one, because you have to think of it from a point of view, you're managing internal trades, you're managing external trades. So my experience didn't just start on this job in particular, it started from 2018 and now we're in 2020, so that's like spanning across 2 years. The first segment of my apprenticeship was at the LDE project, and then it went to the ARC Blake project, and now we're at Coombe School. So that's covering 3 projects in a span of 2 years.
Day to day kind of depends where we are in the project. So if I go back a year, we were in an office and it was a lot of drawing and design reviews, looking at what we've got and how we can improve it. So that was about a year ago. So right now we're in the commissioning phase, so now we're towards the end of the project. My day-to-day job is not so much overseeing the installation, because that's been done, but it's the commissioning the systems. So for example, we flush the systems, we balance the heating and everything like that. So it's just management of what's going on site and just overcoming the problems we found. So through the commissioning phase, we found some design and installation problems, so we rectified those quite quickly. And it's just trying to manage the progress of the project as per the programme, so we can hand over towards the end to the client on time.
On this job role at this stage, I'm currently in charge of all the snagging. So snagging is looking for any defects that are wrong with the building. So I will go around into a finished classroom and I will check for any defects, any problems that may not would be acceptable for handover. And when the client comes to inspect, it's just making sure they come into a nicely finished room. So I'll walk into a classroom, look for any problems that may be involved, either with the paint, with the walls, with the glass, and then I will arrange for the relevant person to come back and fix it before the client comes and looks at it. We're now in a classroom that is going to be used by the school. This classroom has been designed to hold 30 children and a teacher. Behind me is a feature wall, and over this way is going to be the teacher wall where the teacher will stand. On the feature wall there's an acoustic panel. This panel has been placed and designed by the architect to soak up any noise that is generated while the classroom is in use, to take away this noise to put the lesson back in focus.
So this is a science classroom. As you can see, it's a large open space with exposed ceilings. Over here we have the teacher's wall, which has gas taps on it, which most benches in the classrooms will have as well. And we also have the sink here as well. If I bring you over here, we have a dimmable light switch, so in the event that the lighting conditions rise or lower, you can change the level of the lighting in the classrooms. We also have the CO2 sensor here, which in the event of a CO2 rise, that fan that's high level on the ceiling over there will ramp up and also bring fresh air into the classroom to keep people awake. And there's also a boost button on there as well, so in the event that you'd like more fresh air coming in, you can press that, and it also has a heating element in it as well, so it will prevent the heat loss from the room and it will prevent it cooling down too much as well. Over here we have another important feature of the room as well, which is the gas proving panel. This is basically the remote control for the taps and the gas. It turns on all of the gas, water and electricity into the room, and they're controlled by valves under the floor. In the event of emergency, you can press the emergency stop button and it will cut everything into the classroom as well. Over here we also have a light switch for the teacher, and your plug sockets and outlets and data outlets here as well.
And we're now in one of the art rooms of the school, and this room we use as a main feature classroom. Due to the great design, it has a central wall that is running straight down the centre and can be used as two smaller rooms or one giant room how it's laid out now. As you can see, there's a great curtain wall that looks out onto the fields across the school that is going to be used by the school to inspire students to do fantastic artwork.
I take personal pride in not necessarily when there's a problem, but the overcoming of a problem. So it's quite satisfying to, especially early on in your career, when you see issues on site, is to sort of stand there, take responsibility and find a solution for it. It doesn't always work. You do hit some problems in the road, which I sometimes, as I'm earlier on in my career, have to go and get some guidance from, say, my manager or line manager. But sometimes that collaboration between someone or doing it on your own, either way, kind of has benefits, and I don't know, you feel a sense of success from getting past things as well.
In my job, I take pride and satisfaction in passing on my knowledge to the young boys and the apprentices and watching them grow as plumbers and seeing my knowledge passed on.
The part of the job I take pride and satisfaction in would be the middle of the job, like when the decoration actually starts, because I start to actually see the job develop more. So that would be the bit that I enjoy the most.
I take great pride in most of my job, to be honest. I like everything to be neat and tidy, very organised, all my paperwork up to date. And I like to get along with the guys and make sure that the guys are doing a good job and that they're happy at the end of the day as well, because ultimately they make the site run.
The part of the job that I take most satisfaction and great joy in is the actual finished product of what's been installed. So you always get to see it from the start to the end, but no one ever gets to understand what you've done in between, all the headaches, all of the interfaces. But when you can step back and you look away and you can see, wow, that's really amazing what they've built here, that is probably the most satisfactory part of the job.
The aspect of my job that I take most satisfaction with is definitely the quality of work, and definitely when you hand over a finished building, knowing that you had such an impact to get the building to that stage, and when you are looking for quality of other people's work coming in and going, this is actually how a building is meant to look, and definitely when you give that to a client and just seeing how happy they are with the end result.
Okay, so here we have the roof area. We have the solar panels here, which score us an extra BREEAM point for the project to do our bit for the environment. At low level, we have the drainage points for the school as well, which takes all the rainwater down and puts it into the underground drainage. Behind me, we have the air handling units and the condensing units for the school as well, which keep the building at a comfortable temperature. Adjacent to that, we have the fans, which are the extracts for the toilets, and we also have the extract for the kitchen as well. Later on, not quite done yet, you can see over there, we have the tapes for the lightning protection, so if the building encounters a strike, that's taken down to the earth as well. Yes and no is the simple answer to that one. Yes, in terms of kind of the social and collaborational aspect, you build quite good relationships with people to the point where I've actually moved up to this project with near enough the same people because we built a good level of teamwork. But no, in terms of it's actually a lot more advanced and better than I thought in terms of the safety side. I thought I was, you know, the stereotype of a building site is it's all just dangerous dust, fumes. Not quite like that. Wates are quite good for their safety aspect. Obviously, you know, zero harm is their kind of culture. And yeah, so it's just keeping to those standards. But what I did expect and I've experienced is, yeah, the collaboration on site and the design issues and things like that. However, I'm not using as much of my degree as I expected. I expected to use more of that and be a little bit more involved in, say, the design side. It's important to make this video, I think, to kind of make people aware. When you drive by, you see a huge bush and a fence. You don't really understand what's going on behind the fence. So you make videos like this to kind of get rid of that stereotype that I spoke about earlier, saying, you know, a stereotype of a building site is dirty and dusty and everyone's swearing and it's rude. And don't get me wrong, there's certain elements, as I said earlier, that are true about a building site. You know, it's not a clean, tidy office, but you know, I think it's important to make videos like this to show what Wates do, what the school is, what the end product's going to be, and inside that building that you drive past and see. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this site tour has given you a bit of an insight into what Wates do, what Coombe School has been about, and what the construction industry is about as well. We've given you a bit of a tour around the school, what's included in the school, and also some of the operatives that work on site, the different types of jobs they do, and hopefully it's inspired you into joining the construction industry, maybe even joining Wates in the future, and also maybe giving you a little bit of insight into a trade that you didn't know you liked before and maybe you'd want to go into in the future.